Yes, the artifacts. Now, we're not going to be talking about specific artifacts by any means, but what we are going to be looking at is how do you end up unlocking the skins? How do you build power? How are you going to use that power? What is the main thing for the artifact? And the main reason for the artifact that I can end up seeing is to keep you from alt swapping all the damn time. It feels like they really want you to progress and give you that main feeling back through the artifact. People have asked, okay, so how do you obtain the artifacts? Well, your first one you're going to get as soon as you end up entering the Dalaran in the Broken Isles. The second one will be available at level 102. Fairly relative and fairly easy to end up acquiring these things, but unlocking them and staying true to one certain spec and one certain main character is going to be the focus for these artifacts from what I've noticed. That's just my personal opinion, but that's what I see. Now, they get increases in power by building artifact power through items, quest turn-ins, etc. And then you also have artifact research notes, which at level 110 you'll start doing artifact research. It's going to improve how much artifact power you get from baseline. Basically, you're just going to be building more and more and more, which is going to be needed because some of these, the curve on artifact power gets very, very steep. And you'll be noticing there'll be a time when you're spending 15,000 just to unlock the next trait. So you have a choice of, okay, do I want to end up putting it into my main spec, or do I want to start building my off spec up? Lots of different decisions going into these artifacts. The other way of increasing their power is through relics. This is going to add a bonus to one of these slots. Basically, it's going to give you one of the tier recommendations as you build power, and we'll go into this a little bit more later. And they are the only way to improve your item level on the artifact. Baseline, they are 750, but you need relics to make that any higher. You're going to want to end up knowing what spec you're going to want to play, and definitely end up focusing where you want to be at with each one. Now, I do have a couple of the items off to the left here marked that'll give you a general idea with their rarity on how much artifact power you'll get from them. And starting at the top is the most basic of the basic. You'll get those through like World Treasure Chests, stuff like that, the Crude Statuette, Glittering Memento. The Valiant's Glory comes from mainly dungeon chests. The Dried World Tree I have not seen yet. The Brittle Spell Tome. Quester's Glory, that's just for completing certain spots in each questing zone. You'll end up getting something of that value. It's no longer called Quester's Glory. They actually made it to where it's specific to the quest, so it's kind of nice that way. Brief History of the Ages, that's just a random drop that you end up getting, usually in dungeons off of mobs, so make sure you're looting everything. Favor of the Valajar, again, these are going to be items that are just randomly dropped in most situations or earned through certain quests. Now, the Tome of Dimensional Awareness, I did end up getting one of those in the alpha through the Arcway, but I don't know if they still exist. And then you've got Mark of the Rogues, I have yet to see one of those. Those ones are going to be extremely, extremely rare to end up getting, as you can see from the artifact power. Now, most of these, like the Mark of the Rogues, does not benefit from the artifact research notes. There's a couple things you can end up looking at there, but some of them do not benefit from the research notes, and they are based, like the Mark of the Rogues, I know for a fact does not. It is 5,000 baseline. So with this, let's go ahead and take a look at how we can start unlocking the different appearances for the artifact. Alright, so we've looked at the skins before here. Now, we're not really looking at the skins, but how to acquire them, and this is usually the same all the way through and through for every single spec on how to end up acquiring these different skins. And the nice part is, if you unlock them on one, you unlock them on all of them. So if you end up getting this one, you'll have it for, this is Affliction, you'll have it for Destruction, you'll have it for Demonology. Pretty nice little addition in there, so you don't have to redo anything to get these. Now what we're looking at is how to end up obtaining these skins, and really I'll get into a little bit more detailed breakdown of how to do it. Now we all know this is your base model, the very first one, it's going to be unlocked already. The next one's going to be recover one of the Pillars of Creation, which is basically just completing all the quests in a zone, finishing the main quest line in a zone, and finishing it out. You'll get a Pillar of Creation, and this is fairly easy to unlock. Your next one's recover Light's Heart and bring it to the safety of your order hall. This is actually what they consider the world main quest line, and this is like the first little chapter in it. Fairly simple to do on this one also, but this is going to be tied to questing. This whole line will be. And then complete the first major campaign effort with your order. This is just going to be your order hall quest line. As if you keep questing, this whole row unlocks fairly simply. Now your next one's going to be Hand of the Afflicted. And it says complete the Warlock class hall campaign. Basically, if you just do everything in your class hall as required, this is going to be perfectly fine. Unlock every artifact trait. Now this is going to take quite a bit longer because for some of you, we'll go over the artifact power here in just a minute, but for the most part, this right here is going to take a lot of decent effort, and it's just mainly going to be more of a time sink because as you end up progressing, your artifact traits do end up getting quite costly. You do have ways of bumping the artifact power, but currently, this is going to take a little while. Research the full history of your artifact in your class hall. This is a bit different. You do end up having a research guy that'll end up giving you additional abilities on how to end up acquiring additional artifact power. This is just basically going to be that. You'll end up having, again, just a time sink into this. Complete the achievement This Side Up. Now, This Side Up is actually based around archaeology. You end up collecting all the deals for archaeology, this expansion, and you'll get this last one. Now the Soul Siphon. Complete the quest line Balance of Power. Now this one's based on completing the quest line Balance of Power. I'm not 100% sure on what the quest line Balance of Power is, but I believe it will more than likely be tied to the main world quest. Just by the way things are going, I haven't gotten this one unlocked yet, and I'm not sure if you can even unlock it currently. Complete the achievement Unleash Monstrosities. Now this is fairly simple and hard all at the same time. You have to kill 8 of the different world bosses, and I believe there are 10 world bosses right now, but you have to kill 8 of the different ones to unlock this one. Complete a challenge mode dungeon using a level 15 keystone. I don't even believe this is possible right now. Not in this tier, at least. This one here is going to take quite some time. Most people are only working, I want to say, on challenge 6 and 7 in the beta right now. But they also have it set up to where the mythics will only unlock to a certain tier level of what the current raid tier is. Complete the achievement Glory of the Legion Hero, which is kind of funny and a little ironic because it's no longer the heroic dungeons anymore. It's Glory of the Legion Hero, but you have to complete the achievements on mythic difficulty or higher. It's no longer on heroic difficulty, or you can't do it on normal just like prior. No longer on heroic anymore, but on a mythic difficulty you have to complete all the achievements that's listed for the Glory of the Legion Hero. Death's Hand, these are the PvP ones. Now you're looking at complete the quest, the Victor Spoil, after reaching Prestige level 1, rank 50. Basically hit Prestige level 1, and then it's going to give you another quest and you'll end up finishing it. And you'll get the first PvP one. Then you have to reach Prestige level 5 and it says earn a Crest of Heroism, but basically this just gives you a Crest of Heroism and you'll end up being able to use it to unlock this. And then same thing with this one, reach level 13, same difference, and level 9, same difference. So that's what you're looking at here. Just basically if you PvP a lot, you'll end up unlocking these fairly fast. And then there's also still 1 to 2 additional hidden models that are out there in the world that you'll be looking for, that you'll come across almost in unnatural ways. You won't even be paying attention to it and you'll end up finding it. Just something else to end up keeping you out there. But that's going to be it for unlocking the actual artifact appearances. Let's move on to how we can acquire the different power. Alright, so looking at the artifact power, what do we have? Okay, again, we're with Ulthalash, the Deadwind Harvester, just as a perspective. This is going to be basically the same for all specs, all artifacts, but what you're looking at normally is going to be like a damage, a AoE, and a survivability route in most situations of where you can end up going with your artifact power, depending on what you want to end up doing. Now I am going the way of the multi-dot on here and a little bit more single target damage, but then you have, AoE, and then you have survivabilities, which all the way down through here is just going to be nothing but survivability stuff. It's kind of nice to end up seeing this, so you can really play it the way you want to end up playing. Warlocks being as sturdy as they are, this isn't too hard of a decision, just go with the damage and you stay pretty stout already. Now, again, this is just in using this as an example, but basically what you're looking at is building up artifact power, and by the time you hit 110, the concept is you will have what they consider the leveling process completed, which the leveling process is basically you're going to have one of these golden dragons by the time you hit level 110, and it works out and it's timed fairly damn well. Really, it adjusts very little depending on if you get lucky with drops and all that fun little stuff, but normally you'll be very close or already have one of these by the time you hit level 110. Then it increases in your artifact power. You're going to end up having to do research and stay progressive in your class order hall in order to really proceed after this, because these are going to start increasing by a ton of artifact power for each one you end up getting. Sounds really bad, but there are multiple stages to this research. You're going to end up getting double the first time, and then it just keeps increasing on how much you can end up getting. But it still puts a lot of effort in, and it is a time sink on how much you can actually end up acquiring that way. Now you'll also notice we have relics, and the relics are doing a couple different things for the power of this weapon also. One, they're the only way to improve the item level on this weapon. So if you end up wanting to have your weapon improved, you're going to have to get these. The other thing they do is they add a rank to one of the random abilities. So as you can see, this shows that I have 3, but I'm actually showing 3 of 4. That's because this one right here is adding an additional tier to that. So this is another way you can end up playing into your game and also increasing your item level to the weapon, which is your overall damage. Plays out very nice, and as you can see, we're going to have 1 shadow on this, 1 blood here, and then another shadow that will be unlocked after you complete your Warlock Order campaign. Not a lot going on there, just basically you're going to hit 110 and finish out the campaign, and you're good to go. You'll end up having another slot, and by the time you get this 3rd slot, these are going to be very strong. As you can see, these are showing item level 740. They add 14 item levels to the weapon. This one adds 12. When you get up to 110, it's adding about 20 per, and then you add that 3rd one in there, and the weapon just blows up on how much damage it really does. Plays very nicely into this for the actual power. It's a different feel. It really is. It's a different feel. It's not as good as what the TBC talent trees were, because eventually this will completely fill out, and that's what they're looking at. But this is a great way for them to be able to balance actual damage instead of completely changing spells. They can end up balancing it through this tree, and I do like the way this plays because it gives you something else to work for. Not only are you working on improving this weapon, but you've got plenty of skins to end up playing with it, which is really nice. It's very main focused due to the artifact weapons. And with this, guys, I hope you enjoyed yourself, and as always, thanks for watching.